Liverpool needs to give Dominic Szoboszlai what he deserves after a powerful Anfield reminder, the Paul Gorst verdict from Anfield as Liverpool stormed to a 4-0 Champions League win over Galatasaray to set up a quarter-final showdown with Paris Saint-Germain. For a club whose European exploits are woven into its fabric, it's been far too long since Anfield enjoyed a Champions League night like this. It's been nearly 4 years, in fact, since Liverpool last won a Champions League knockout game at home, and those famous nights the regulars here boast about have been quietly in danger of becoming consigned to history as a result. And while this comfortable 4-0 victory over an obstinate but ordinary Galatasaray won't stand the test of time like some of the genuinely extraordinary nights over the years, there was enough stardust sprinkled around to remind those who might have needed it of what can be produced at this ground on these sorts of occasions. At the third time of asking this season, the Reds beat the Turkish Super League champions who wilted under the Merseyside lights, specifically in the second half when the English Premier League champions' dominance was finally reflected on the scoreboard. This place can still be decisive, and the fact that Jeremy Frimpong, Hugo Ekitike, Dominic Szoboszlai and Ibrahima Konate were all seen asking supporters to turn up the volume levels further at various times throughout suggested the players know that too, despite a generally disgruntled set of locals, those who either left early or booed after Sunday's 1-1 draw with relegation-threatened Tottenham Hotspur. Anfield can still be a powerful weapon for Slot and his players. They must learn how to properly harness that as they now prepare for a showdown with holders Paris Saint-Germain in the quarter-finals. Last week's 1-0 reverse in Istanbul was more concerning for its wider context for a team that has struggled during a chastening sophomore season for head coach Arne Slot. But a second-half blitz here following a first-half strike from Szoboszlai was enough to see off Okan Buruk's gala, who arrived in L4 without any official support, save for 250 VIPs, after UEFA's ruling regarding their conduct at Juventus in the previous round. Few will be confident enough yet to book those flights for the Budapest final, but this intriguing Champions League campaign rolls on into the last 8. Not since they were finalists in 2022 have Liverpool gone this deep into Europe's premier competition, and that is not to be sniffed at, especially this year. A start that delivered far more aggression and intensity than at any other point in recent months was given its reward when a cleverly worked corner routine saw Alexis Mac Allister pick out an on-rushing Szoboszlai, who cushioned home with the instep of his left foot. It was a superb piece of play to bring up Szoboszlai's 12th goal of the campaign, and the hungry midfielder shone in his preferred midfield role. He was everywhere, matching an unrivaled engine with so much poise and clarity in possession on the night. The Reds seem to have spent the best part of 2 years hearing calls for informed players to receive new contracts. Still, Szoboszlai, this year's outstanding performer, deserves to have this level of consistency rewarded by Anfield executives in the close season. Mohamed Salah, who Uğurcan Çakır had earlier denied with a deft lob, was then thwarted from the penalty spot after Szoboszlai was fouled inside the area. It was a poor penalty from the Egyptian, who responded well to that setback after the restart. It would have been understandable for a few doubts to have crept in at the break, given it was still level on aggregate, but an explosive start to the second period removed all doubt, and the tie was effectively over before the hour mark. 2 goals in as many minutes from Ekitike and Ryan Gravenberch, both of which involved Salah, put the tie to bed, and there was even time for a Wilfried Singo own goal to be ruled out for Frimpong straying offside. Slot's side were already home and dry when Florian Wirtz and Salah combined for the Reds. Great to roll back the years with a vintage effort that curled past Çakır, who was finally beaten by the no.11. It was Salah's 50th Champions League goal, setting a new record for African players in the process. He is only the 3rd player in club history to score 10 goals or more in 9 or more consecutive seasons, joining Roger Hunt and Gordon Hodgson. Whatever the near future holds for him, he is a legend as much as any other around these parts. This version of Slot's Liverpool still has concerns to address and areas to improve, but those discussions can at least be paused until the build-up to Saturday lunchtime's trip to Brighton and Hove Albion really begins. For once, the sight of the fourth officials' board going up in stoppage time simply signalled how much longer fans had to enjoy themselves on a night when all was right with the world, if only briefly. Liverpool transfer news amid Eduardo Camavinga red alert as $92 million deal considered. Liverpool transfer news as the Reds have reportedly been alerted to the availability of Eduardo Camavinga, while a $92 million deal could be on the cards for a new defender. As the business end of the season approaches, one thing is clear for Liverpool: it needs to do more business in the transfer window. That would have seemed hard to believe after last summer's huge spending spree, but with flaws continuing to emerge across Arne Slot's side throughout the season, the Reds will have to be prepared to splash some cash again. It remains to be seen whether sporting director Richard Hughes will be in place to oversee another window, but whoever is tasked with leading the next transfer charge, there are plenty of big names for them to consider. Eduardo Camavinga, Real Madrid. Liverpool has been placed on red alert by Eduardo Camavinga's agent, with Real Madrid set to make the midfielder available for transfer this summer, according to Team Talk. It's claimed that representatives of the 23-year-old have already begun to explore his next move and have made contact with several Premier League clubs. Liverpool is said to be leading the chase for his signature, having been described as long-term admirers. Manchester United and Chelsea have also registered an interest though, and the latter may hold an advantage, with Camavinga said to be keen on a move to London, although it is also claimed that any club pursuing him would need to be competing in the Champions League. Alessandro Bastoni, Inter Milan is considering selling Alessandro Bastoni, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. The Serie A club believes the sale of the 26-year-old, who is valued at up to €80 million, $92 million, could help fund its summer business. Bastoni has been linked with Liverpool previously, although Barcelona is the only club named in Gazzetta's report. Nevertheless, it is mentioned that several teams from England could enter the race. What's more, Spanish outlet Sport, as per Sport Witness, does mention Liverpool, claiming that the Reds have made inquiries, although it's also suggested that Bastoni only wants a move to Barca. Liverpool news: Reds panic over £60 million summer transfer as Saudi approach emerges. Today's Liverpool news sees the club possibly bracing itself for yet another summer of major changes. Liverpool's summer transfer spending was an unprecedented move by the club. The haul of players that set the Reds back a staggering £450 million was in part spearheaded by sporting director Richard Hughes. Record fees were spent on Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak. Jeremy Frimpong, Hugo Ekitike, Milos Kerkez and Giovanni Leone also arrived in a major squad overhaul after Arne Slot won the Premier League title in his first season. Yet despite the extravagant expenditure, the Reds have underwhelmed this season and are battling to secure a top four finish. Moves could now be in place that will lead to a seismic shift in the club's hierarchy, affecting Hughes and Slot, and how the club will conduct transfer business moving forward. Sporting director tip for move: Hughes joined the Reds at the end of the 2023-24 campaign and has been a hugely influential figure during the Slot era. However, in January, reports emerged linking the former Portsmouth player with a move to the Saudi Pro League, and they have resurfaced. Hughes is under contract with the Reds until June 2027, but reports from the Middle East claimed he had agreed to join Al Hilal. The Telegraph has now reported that he is in fact on a three-man shortlist for the role of sporting director at the Saudi side. Al Hilal are yet to contact Liverpool, and the club are understood to be content that he won't be leaving. Were he to agree to join Al Hilal, Hughes would not start work until the summer. Despite being unbeaten, the Riyadh-based side is currently second in the Pro League, 3 points behind Cristiano Ronaldo's Al Nassr. They are owned by the country's public investment fund, managed by former Inter Milan boss Simone Inzaghi. Hughes was hired by Liverpool's chief executive of football, Michael Edwards, from a similar role at Bournemouth, where he oversaw the hiring of Andoni Iraola. Alarm bells ring over summer signing. Soon-to-be Liverpool star Jeremy Jacquet has undergone surgery following a shoulder fracture last month. However, worry has reportedly spread through the Merseyside club after they learnt about the length of his recovery period. Liverpool outbid Chelsea for the centre-back signature in January. They agreed a £60 million deal with Rennes's £55 million paid up front and an additional £5 million due in add-ons. The severity of the injury, picked up in a league tie with Lens, meant that surgery was necessary and has all but concluded his stint at the League One club. On March 12th, Rennes confirmed in a brief statement that the surgery had been successful. French publication Sport has suggested that Jacquet is likely to be sidelined for 8 to 12 weeks. The same report indicated that Liverpool is panicking about the extent of Jacquet's injury. The report stated that the Reds had already been envisioning him forming a partnership with Virgil van Dijk at the start of the next season. The youngster's recovery is expected to delay his integration into the team, with the defender likely to have a light pre-season and arrive lacking match fitness. Man United transfer news: Red Devils join Liverpool in race for £52M rated 90 Bundesliga defender. Manchester United have reportedly placed Eintracht Frankfurt defender Nathaniel Brown on their summer transfer shortlist. Brown has established himself as a regular fixture on the Frankfurt side since he arrived at Deutsche Bank Park in 2024. The 22-year-old has made 34 competitive appearances in the current campaign, contributing to the club's attacking efforts with 3 goals and 4 assists. Brown has primarily played as a left wing-back or full-back, although he has even been utilised on the right side of defence in recent times. Man United join Liverpool in Brown transfer battle. Wherever he has played, Brown has largely impressed in a Frankfurt shirt, helping him earn a call-up to Julian Nagelsmann's latest Germany squad. Several top European clubs have also taken note of Brown's performances, including reigning Premier League champions Liverpool. According to journalist Florian Plettenberg, Man United is also showing an interest in Brown ahead of the summer transfer window. The update claims that Man United are one of 4 teams that have placed the left-back on their transfer shortlist, along with Liverpool, Barcelona and Real Madrid. Given the significant interest in one of their prized assets, Frankfurt will demand at least €60 million, £52 million, to part ways with Brown at the end of the season. Why are Man United keen on Brown? Manchester United currently have 4 left-backs in their first-team squad: Luke Shaw, Patrick Dorgu, Tyrell Malacia and Diego Leon. However, Malacia is likely to leave as a free agent when his contract expires this summer, while 18-year-old Diego Leon is yet to make his first-team debut and is seen as one for the future. Meanwhile, interim boss Michael Carrick utilised Dorgu in an advanced position before his injury, allowing Shaw to operate on the left side of defence. While Shaw is seen as the first-choice left-back, Man United's recruitment team may want to bring in competition and cover in that area of the pitch, especially with the club likely to return to European competition next season. Someone of Brown's age and calibre could share the load with Shaw, as well as boasting the potential to become the 30-year-old's long-term replacement. The perfect performance. Why can't it be like this every week? Why can't it be like this every week? This is exactly the kind of lift-off Liverpool season needed. They have now qualified for the Champions League quarter-finals following an utterly supreme display in the second leg of their last 16 tie against Galatasaray at Anfield. It could not have gone any better in truth. The team started at a high tempo, played aggressively, and the crowd responded in turn. In fact, the two went hand in hand, and Arne Slot will have learnt plenty from it. What a contrast it is since Sunday. Liverpool were booed off against Tottenham following the flattest of flat displays, and here they rolled their sleeves up from the start and delivered their best, most complete performance of the season. Best performance of the season. There was never any other outcome likely from the moment the game got underway. Not for a second did the home side look threatened by Galatasaray. The 6-time European champions showed what they are made of and corrected the wrongs of Istanbul away last week. 4 goals, 2 more disallowed and a missed penalty kick. This was a veritable attacking feast. Slot's men put in an expected goals total of 5.04, scoring 4. Dominik Szoboszlai started the party. Ryan Gravenberch and Hugo Ekiti got in on the act too. And then the moment we've been waiting for, Mohamed Salah scoring his 50th Champions League goal. Salah in particular showed signs of his old self. No longer isolated on the right wing, he moved closer to the box and gave an assist as well as his goal. There are lessons in there for Arne Slot too. Roll on PSG. The Reds dominated throughout the 90-plus minutes. It came exactly at the right time of the season. We will have a league game against Brighton this weekend, hopefully sending the players into the international window with their tails in the air. This was a complete performance. Roll on PSG.